I really don't know if there's anything positive to say about the New Orleans Saints at this point. They get absolutely smacked all over the map by the Seattle Seahawks, 44-13. And I had the pleasure and displeasure of having a couple of friends over for this game, and he's a Seahawks fan. And he looked me right in my eyes and told me before the game, he shook my hand and he said, I just want you to know, brother, I'm about to talk shit. And I said, okay, man, I know you are. I hope you're ready for it too. AJ had no shit to talk during that Seahawks Saints game. All I could do was laugh my way through it, brother. Zero positive takeaways from that game. I'm already starting to question Kellen Moore as a head coach because I'm not trying to be a prisoner of the moment, but this is 3 games now, and 2 of them had extremely soft coaching and play calling. The Saints are just getting absolutely destroyed with penalties in this NFL season. I mean, we lead the league in penalties, and it's not hard to see. I think we had 7 penalties in the first quarter or something. I mean, false start after false start after false start, holding. It was ridiculous. The Saints were literally buried underneath the laundry that they were creating in the first half of this game, and really throughout the entire football game. The Saints were setting records in this game in the worst way possible. Seattle had a kick 6 in this game. It was 95 yards. It was the longest ever in Seahawks history. They had a block punt on the Saints. That was the first time that happened in 15 years. The most points in a first half ever for a Seattle Seahawks team since 2012. That is what the Saints put on the football field. That is what the New Orleans Saints are putting on the field right now. Another missed kick from Blake Grupe. I don't know why that guy still has an NFL job. Truly, I don't. This is the 3rd straight week where he has just missed simple chip shots. It's not that your 3 points would have made a 44-16 loss any better, but I don't know why Blake Grupe still has a job. I really don't. The Saints defense was absolutely horrible. I'm already convinced 3 weeks in that Brandon Staley was an absolutely awful hire as defensive coordinator because, again, the last time we saw this guy, he was giving up 60-plus to a division rival on a primetime game, and he lost his job the next morning. And Kellen Moore said, I think the guy who struggled so much defensively when that's his calling and his specialty, when he was a head coach, I think he'd be good to do that as my first defensive coordinator. Can you offer me a Dennis Allen with the Chicago Bears right now, who have given up the most points this year, if I'm not mistaken? Can you offer me that? You just went through an awful defensive coordinator in Dennis Allen, and you think that Brandon Staley is the one. That's already an X marks the spot in the worst way possible for Kellen Moore, just looking in on some of his decision-making. No sacks, no turnovers, nothing even close to making it hard for the Seattle Seahawks in this game, man. They scored on every drive. I don't know how you wake up the next morning as a head coach and look at that and be okay with your defensive coordinator. I get it. We're 3 weeks in. But I was just waiting for the Seahawks to put up a 50-burger. Genuinely. Thankfully, it did not happen. But I don't know. I do know, but I also don't know. Because this team continues to surprise me in the worst ways possible. To show how soft this coaching was, the Saints might have the softest head coach in the league right now with these decisions. Kicking the field goal at the end of the first half, even though you're down by 5 scores. Go for the touchdown. You did it again in the 3rd quarter. Now, I understand the argument and the devil's advocate of, okay, you're trying to get points on that drive. You're clearly getting absolutely wiped in this game. The last thing that you'd want to do is come off the field without points in a couple of key positions where you had an opportunity to, get points. And it's like, yeah, you're on the field, you're grinding it out. There is no way in hell you leave the field without points. My brother, you're down by 5 scores. Literally. You're down by like 35 plus at one point in this game. The Saints actually ended up missing one of those field goals, thankfully. That was the one from Blake Grupe that I mentioned earlier. I don't want to believe that the head coach who just led the Philadelphia Eagles to the biggest Super Bowl win, one of the biggest ones we've ever seen, and had the highest scoring postseason, that he's not able to at least give us half of that. Again, I get it. The roster is not what Philly had. But we're not out here working with straight bums. We got Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Alvin Kamara. Say what you want, but Juwan Johnson's been playing all right this year. I know we're not going to forgive him for the week 1 drop. But just to be able to create no sort of creativity, this just wasn't a one-phase loss. This was in all 3 phases in every single facet franchise loss. Special teams spotted the points. The pass rush just never showed up. The flags continue to pile up as they have through the first 2 weeks. And the offense just kind of dinked and dunked to nowhere. 44-13 and 0-3 under Kellen Moore. Now, Seattle's only allowed 17, 17, and 13 points on the season, so it's like their defense is definitely real. And they just held the Steelers to 17 after Aaron Rodgers put up 4 passing touchdowns in the first week, and they forced a couple of picks off A-Rod. It's tough, y'all. I knew it was going to be a long season. I really did. I knew it was going to be a very long season as a Saints fan. I knew this was going to be one of the worst seasons of football that I'd ever watched as a fan of this team. But a 44-13 loss where you allow them to score on every drive. Maybe that's just when I quit paying attention in the game. But I watched the whole game. So maybe they didn't score on every drive. But it damn sure felt like it. And at one point, they had scored on every single possession, either a touchdown or a field goal. It's going to be a long season, Saints fans. No real positive takeaways again from this one. Thankfully, Alvin Kamara is still able to get some production. 18 carries for 42 yards, though, so take for what you will. I wish I had something uplifting to say. I wish I did. I wish I did.